What if I told you every single decade had one toy that didn't just become popular, it completely took over the world? We're talking millions sold, cultural obsession, and ideas so powerful they changed entire industries. From a simple string toy to billion-dollar brands, this is 100 years of the most iconic toys ever created, and it only gets crazier as we go. Back in the 1920s, a toy that's actually thousands of years old suddenly exploded into modern culture: the yo-yo. A Filipino inventor, Pedro Flores, brought it to the US and turned it into a business, but the real genius came when Donald Duncan bought the rights and started massive marketing campaigns. Live demonstrations, trick competitions, crowds gathering in the streets, millions of yo-yos were sold, and for the first time ever, a toy became a performance trend, not just something you played with, but something you showed off. Then came the 1930s, right in the middle of the Great Depression, when people were struggling financially, and somehow a board game about owning property and becoming rich, Monopoly, became a massive hit. Originally based on an earlier economic game, it was refined and released by Parker Brothers in 1935, and it spread like wildfire. Over time, it sold more than 275 million copies worldwide, proving something crazy when reality is tough. People escape into games that let them win. Then in the 1940s, one of the most accidental inventions ever turned into a global sensation. Naval engineer Richard James knocked over a spring, watched it walk down instead of falling, and instantly saw potential. He turned it into the Slinky, and when it launched in 1945, 400 units sold in just 90 minutes. It was simple, hypnotic, and weirdly satisfying, and over time, more than 100 million Slinkies were sold worldwide, proving sometimes the simplest ideas win. Moving into the 1950s, the world became obsessed with movement and fun at the same time. Inspired by an Australian exercise ring, Whammo turned it into the Hula Hoop, and what happened next was insane. Within just 4 months, over 25 million hoops were sold. Kids, adults, entire crowds spinning them in streets and playgrounds. It became one of the fastest-selling toys in history and one of the first true global fads. Then the 1960s changed toys forever with the arrival of G.I. Joe. The creators avoided calling it a doll and instead invented the term action figure, and that one decision changed everything. Now boys had heroic, detailed characters with stories, missions, and gear. It quickly became a massive success and opened the door for an entire industry of character-based toys that still dominates today. Then the late 1970s brought a revolution: Star Wars. But here's the twist: initially, toy companies didn't even believe it would succeed. Kenner took the risk, and it paid off massively. By shrinking figures to 3.75 inches, they made them cheaper and scalable, and between 1978 and the mid-80s, over 300 million figures were sold. This didn't just sell toys, it created the blueprint for modern franchises. Then came the 1980s, and one puzzle completely took over the planet. The Rubik's Cube, invented by Hungarian professor Erno Rubik, started as a teaching tool but quickly became a global obsession. Over 100 million cubes sold in the early years alone, and more than 500 million total to date. It looked simple, but solving it? That became a worldwide challenge. By the 1990s, toys turned into something else entirely: hype and scarcity. Beanie Babies, created by Ty Warner, were deliberately limited in supply, which made people want them even more. Over 100 million were sold in just a few years, and at peak, they generated over $1 billion annually. People weren't just buying toys, they were collecting, trading, and even investing in them. Then the 2000s flipped gaming upside down. Nintendo launched the Wii, and instead of better graphics, they focused on movement. You didn't just press buttons, you swung, jumped, and played physically. It reached people who never played games before and sold over 100 million units worldwide. Gaming went from niche to something everyone could enjoy. Then the 2010 proved one thing: Lego wasn't just surviving, it was dominating. What started as simple plastic bricks turned into a global empire. Movies, video games, massive collaborations. With brands like Star Wars and Marvel, by 2015, Lego became the world's largest toy company, selling millions of sets every year and staying relevant across generations. And now in the 2020s, Barbie made one of the biggest comebacks ever. Originally launched in 1959, it evolved with the times: more diversity, more careers, more representation, and then exploded again with modern media and pop culture. With over $1 billion in annual sales, Barbie proves something powerful: reinvention is the ultimate superpower.